So literally going in and, waiting to go in for the next surgery. And obviously at that time, my son was at kindy, and my wife was with me, and she was very distraught. We arrived obviously on a time that they had said to come in, but it turned out that they were far behind schedule. So we had to wait there for quite a few hours. So obviously my wife was stressed, crying. I was in a state of sort of numbness, would you believe? And I felt a little bit stressed underneath, but I knew that the fact that I was actually on time in regards to my integrity and turning up. So I felt okay, but in the end, obviously my wife was absolutely distraught, and the hospital, of course, were a little bit cold face, so to speak, in regards to the integrity and things like that. So leading into that, the second surgery went really well. The main purpose of the second surgery was to remove the remaining part of the cancer, and after 6 or 7 hours surgery, they removed it with scorpion venom, would you believe it? So what they use the scorpion venom, and I wanted to know this because it's a technological point of view for me, is that I want to know how you're going to identify the remaining 5% of the tumour. And they said to me, well, Luke, it's going to be scorpion venom, because the reason being is that it highlights, it glows when we inject a dye into the venom, so we can identify the remaining 5%, so to speak. So obviously very grateful for that. I was able to identify that and actually remove it all. So coming out of that surgery, coming out of that surgery, it was the main process of that, identifying that whole remaining 5%. And it reassured me that obviously, okay, I can come into that surgery, I'm knowing that they're going to get it all. So literally coming out, and sort of bound up in my head with bandage and things like that. And then I go back to my room, and the neurosurgeon walks in and he says, well, Luke, I've got some really good news for you. We've actually removed all the cancer. And at that time, I was actually, I was up eating mud cake or something like that. I had sort of delivered some afternoon tea, and I was just absolutely blown away and shocked that he'd just give me that news, because I was quite used to well, Luke, we're going to try our best, or Luke, we're not sure how we're going to go. This is just early days, so to speak. So when he had delivered that news with that process of using the scorpion venom and actually having a huge medical team, at least 8 or 9 medical staff in the room at the same time with different specialists on how to limit the possibility of damage to my body. Truly blessed.
I am a control freak, a reformed one. I have spent most of my life being type A, on top of everything. I ran a small business, I worked jobs, I was the only person caring for my children and my husband, because he needs a lot of care. He's a retired cop, so you can imagine what he is like. So being all so busy and having all these balls in the air, and knowing that I always felt this sense of control. Well, being told that you have cancer when you have no risk factor, you have no concept of ever being sick, is something that totally changes everything about you, and it has to. Otherwise, you will not make it. So if I was still the old me, if I was still type A control freak, I wouldn't be sitting here today. I'd probably be in a hospital somewhere banging my head against the wall. Because when you get sick with cancer, your whole life changes. You are no longer going to the doctor to get well. You're going to the doctor to stay alive. Your doctors are not going to give you an antibiotic and send you home. They're going to pump your body full of chemicals. It's going to make your hair fall out. You're going to cut a boob off. You're going to have to make decisions about whether or not you want to keep a boob, or if you just want to be flat, which ultimately I opted not to reconstruct. It changed my relationships with my family, with my husband, with my children. And after my first chemo, I sat in the bed crying, and my husband was like, "What's the matter? What do you need me to do?" And I was like, "I am so upset right now because I have to stay married to you because you did the right thing. You stood up and you're helping me. And I just have to totally reimagine my future now because I was going to be single and alone and living on the beach and not having you in my life." And he was just like, "That's the most romantic thing you've ever said to me." So everything changed, and not all of it bad, but I will never thank cancer for any of it, because in my opinion, cancer could just fall off a cliff and freaking die. It sucks, and I wish no one else had to go through what I went through, but I am aware that every minute of every day, someone else is diagnosed with some kind of cancer, and the rates are unbelievable. Something like 50% of Americans will be diagnosed with cancer at some point in their lives. So this is not going away. And for me, it was a lot of change, and a lot of change quickly.
In terms of changing, I mean, apart from becoming more handsome, that was one of the biggest changes. But again, I've always been very positive, and going through the journey and having overcome a lot of things just reinforced my positivity and optimism. I mean, through the battle, and since the battle, I've become a life coach. I've pursued becoming an NLP practitioner. I've become a body coach. I've also just recently graduated from John Keogh's Mind Power, which I've been trained by Robert Banks. So all of these opportunities arise because of the journey. Those are things that I never would have done or known of. So, to everybody, I know cancer can be seen as a death sentence, but it's not. For me, it's a life sentence. It's a life sentence of amazing things that's going to happen all the time. I mean, we are not given life for it to get back at you to suffer. I mean, really, just think about it. Oh, okay, your mom is pregnant for 9 months, you're going to give birth, and then life is going to get you and make you suffer. I mean, really, is that what it's about? No. I mean, I've realized that, yes, we have a plan for our life. But sometimes life has a bigger plan for you, but the plan is not for you to suffer. And if you doubt that, let me be that example. But you know what? Life is not out there to get you. Obstacles are going to come ahead of you, but we can either go upwards and get over it, or we can just go forward and go through it to learn. And that's the way I've approached everything as well. I always tell people I don't believe in going onwards and upwards. I believe in going onwards and forward, because I'm going to go forward, I'm going to go through it. And in going through something, I'm going to learn from it. And in learning, I grow. Because if I go onwards and upwards, I'm literally just getting over something. And then you're going to have to get over the same thing over and over and over because you learned nothing about it.
So, obviously bouncing back from that took longer than anticipated. So, in regards to the technology, which really helped, and I'm truly grateful for, yeah, it's just a beautiful thing when you reflect on that. For me, looking back now, it's sort of a bit mind-blowing, using that sort of technology and having that support that I had with my family at that time. It's just absolutely amazing.